Have you ever been the only one who believed? When everyone else laughed, walked away, or called you crazy? Have you ever felt alone, not because you were wrong, but because you chose to stand for what is right? Or have you ever gone through something so hard it felt like your whole world was falling apart? Like everything you built was slipping away, like the storm would never end. But then, just when you were about to give up, something changed. A small sign of hope, a second chance. This is the story of a man who stood alone. In a world drowning in darkness, he dared to listen to a voice no one else could hear. A voice that whispered, "Build, even when there's no rain." This isn't just a story about animals and a boat. It's a story about faith, obedience, heartbreak, and starting over. It's the story of Noah, the man who trusted God when the world stopped listening. Once upon a time, the world was a mess. People had completely lost their way. Violence, lies, greed, it was everywhere. The earth, once beautiful and peaceful, had become bowed and broken. And God saw it all. Every action, every thought, every intention of the human heart. And it broke his. He had created a world filled with wonder, a place where humans could walk closely with him. But now it was filled with evil. So much that he made a heartbreaking decision. "I'm going to start over," God said. "Wipe the slate clean." But there was one man in the middle of all the chaos who still walked with God. His name was Noah. He was the son of Lamech and the grandson of Methuselah. A simple, humble man, not perfect, but righteous, blameless among his generation. He walked closely with God when everyone else walked away. He had a wife, 3 sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth, and daughters-in-law, a quiet family, ordinary except for one thing. Noah listened when God spoke, and that made him different. One day, God came to Noah with a message that would change his life forever. "Noah," God said, "I'm going to send a flood that will cover the whole earth. But I want you to build something, a massive boat, an ark, big enough for you, your family, and 2 of every kind of animal, because I'm going to save you." Imagine hearing that, a flood, an ark, saving animals, and not just a fishing boat. We're talking a giant wooden structure the length of 1.5 football fields. And you know what Noah did? He got to work. Day after day, Noah and his family chopped wood, hammered nails, and followed God's instructions exactly. People around him laughed. "What are you doing, old man? Preparing for a flood? From where? The sky?" They mocked him, ridiculed him. Noah became the village joke. But still, he kept building. For 120 years, Noah worked. And as he worked, he warned. He preached to the people. "Turn from your ways. God is sending a flood." But no one listened. Then the day came. The animals arrived, 2 by 2. Lions, elephants, birds, snakes, all of them walking, flying, crawling into the ark. The people looked on in wonder, until fear began to rise in their hearts. But by then, it was too late. God had said, "Go into the ark, you and your family, because I have found you righteous in this generation." And Noah obeyed. But before stepping into the ark, Noah looked at the sky one last time. He knew everything was about to change. Would they survive? Would anyone believe him before it was too late? With his family and every animal, he went into the ark. And God himself closed the door. The first drop fell, then another, and another. The sky broke open. The deep springs of the earth burst forth. Water rose from beneath and fell from above. People ran, pounded on the ark's door, begged, screamed, wept. But the door had been closed by God. For 40 days and 40 nights, water fell from the heavens and burst up from the earth. Rivers overflowed, mountains disappeared, cities vanished under waves. Everything was gone. Inside the ark, all was silent. Noah listened to the storm as it raged. He looked around at the faces of his family. The cries outside still echoed in his ears. He was safe, but his heart was heavy. Days turned into weeks, weeks into months. The smell of animals, the creaking of wood, the never-ending waiting, it was almost unbearable. The ark drifted for 150 days, carried only by the will of God. After months and months of floating, waiting, and hoping, the rain finally stopped. The ark rested on a mountain called Ararat. Noah sent out a raven to see if the land was dry. It flew back and forth, searching for dry ground. Then a dove. It returned with nothing. Days later, he sent it again, and this time, it brought back an olive leaf. Hope. Noah's eyes filled with tears. God's judgment was ending. His mercy was beginning. God spoke again. Come out of the ark, you and your family, and every creature. Noah stepped out. The world was new, quiet, clean, alive. And the first thing he did, he built an altar. He worshiped. God looked at Noah's heart and made a promise. Never again will I destroy all life. I set my bow in the clouds as a sign of my covenant. Genesis 9:11-13. And there, stretched across the sky, was the first rainbow. This rainbow wasn't just a sign, it was a promise, a commitment, that even when the world forgets God, He doesn't forget them. Noah's story isn't just about a boat or a flood, it's about listening to God, even when it doesn't make sense. It's about standing for what's right, even when you're the only one. And it's about hope, how even after the darkest storms, there's always a chance to begin again. So the next time you see a rainbow, remember, there's always grace after the rain. Thanks for watching. If this story moved you, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more stories that touch the heart and feed the soul. See you next time.